Hello and good morning. It's a brand new Wednesday, filled with hope, filled with new possibilities.
Good morning, welcome. It's your numero uno breakfast show, Wake Up Nigeria, and we're here to get the midweek started. How's your week been so far? Well, it's Wednesday, it's just halfway across. Let's do what we can to ensure that you end the week or you enter to the second half of the week energized to take on the rest of the month, as it were. We're halfway down September, by the way.
It is.
Even more than halfway.
Yeah.
Well, so the Ember months, how have they been so far? I would want to talk about also the floods. I hope you are doing what you can in your own little way to ensure that it doesn't get to you that bad in your own little way.
Your environment. Make sure all the gutters around your home are clean. If you are in a community forum, this is now the time that you should have conversations. Maybe you've not been going for that estate meeting. Maybe it's now you need to join and figure out what we can do to make sure our environments are clean.
Definitely, we ensure that we give you a bright and wonderful morning this Wednesday. My name is Mike Mesikeno.
And I'm Titilayo Oyinson. You can, of course, watch the show live. That's every single weekday morning from 7 a.m. And we're live on our website, that's tvcentertainment.tv, and on Facebook at TVC Connect.
You can hit us up on our app. The app is TVC. It's on iOS and, of course, the Google Play Store. You can watch us anywhere live once you have the app and, of course, internet connection. You can hit us up at any time, anywhere.
Coming up on the show today, we have a look at relationships. Deji Shomi is going to be here, a certified practitioner of family systems engineering, a love and life experience architect, a content creator, and writer. Today, we're going to be talking about unearthing your ideal partner amidst chaos.
And then we have a musical performance from Golden Star, Afrobeat pop and blues singer. Her name is Ncheta Jennifer Chinke.
And joining us on the couch is Tola Olatunji, Nigerian-born film director, producer, and screenwriter. He's been writing, he's been producing and directing many different feature and short films and series. We can't wait for that conversation. That's coming up very soon.
We have Bikia Graham Douglas, an award-winning Nigerian-British trained actress, singer, producer, art enabler, and performing arts executive. She'll be here as our final guest on the show. All right.
It's Wednesday.
Yeah.
And so church on Sunday was interesting for a lot of people, as always. It's always interesting. But it was interesting for those who go to Fountain of Life as well. They've been through quite a week of activities. You know, of course, our condolences go out to them as they did lose their former senior pastor. But what was interesting was at the beginning of the week, we saw the notification that actor, singer, performer. Great performance in A Woman King, by the way. And pastor, Jimmy Odukoya has been named senior pastor.
You know, something quite interesting about that social media went to buzz and about how, it seemed like a compensation. But you see, something that really, when I looked back at the life of Taiwo Odukoya and all of that, I found out something happened that there was a point in his life in ministry where all the branches of their churches, he let them go. He let them, he let the pastors who were overseeing those congregations to handle them and take them as,
their
own. All. And I thought about it, that is unusual. That is, in fact, I don't think that has ever happened anywhere. So that gave me thinking that this person is quite different from
others.
So, to those who matter or to those who he's overseeing, they don't have a problem with it. So, you out there, it's none of your business. That's actually as close to my opinion as that's how I say it. If it's the people who are there accept it, the board accept it, it's there.
I'm trying to understand what it is that there needs to be accepted. He was formally trained as a pastor. You know, he actually went for pastoral training. He also pastored his own youth church for a while. And he was always a gospel artist. It's just so interesting that People have opinions
so much angst outside
on
of
style choices, so to speak. But let's leave it there at this point.
It's the news on Wake Up Nigeria. My name is Mike Messikeno. We begin with the update from the United Nations General Assembly, where President Bola Tinubu addressed the UNGA. He is already in New York alongside other world leaders to attend the 78th session of the annual UN event. Nigerian leader listening to the contributions of other leaders at the General Assembly debate and has met on the sidelines with the President of Angola and the King of Jordan. It is expected that Nigeria's president will solicit for global support against military takeovers that appears to gradually be spreading across West Africa, and also seek support for sanctions imposed on countries that have disrupted constitutional order of government. Beyond the speeches delivered, President Bola Tinubu is targeting investors and investments that will help grow Nigeria's economy and improve the livelihood of citizens. Now, the Ministers of Labour and Employment held a closed-door meeting with the leadership of the Trade Union Congress. At the end of the meeting with the TUC President, Festus Osifo says the meeting with the federal government is on course. Meanwhile, TUC has threatened to picket the Lagos State Government office next week should the crisis rocking the Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria stays unresolved. TVC's Joke Adisa reports.
Barely 24 hours after the Ministers of Labour and Employment met with the leadership of the Nigeria Labour Congress, it is the turn of the TUC to interface with the government. But unlike that of the NLC, Tuesday's meeting was without opening remarks, as journalists were sent out immediately the ministers were seated. The closed-door meeting ended after almost 2 hours.
The Honourable Minister gave us a brief on what they have done, that he has met with the President, that he has presented to him the issues regarding wage award, that he has presented to him some of the issues we raised around the CNG. He has presented as well some of the issues we raised around the low-income earners being exempted from taxation. That they've also discussed about the issues of return, that the Lagos State government has shut them out of operations for over 1 year now. That we should hold on for the President to come back by weekend, that when the President returns back, that they are going to swing into action and give us some concrete terms.
TUC President Festus Osifo says the meeting with the federal government is on course, but he expressed dissatisfaction with the Lagos State government over the crisis with one of its affiliate unions, the Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria.
The issue of Ratian, is one of the issues that we have been pushing forward, and that by the end of this week, if there is no resolution on that subject, that we are going to picket and commence a total shutdown of Lagos State government, effective next week.
TUC, like the NLC, is canvassing a return to the negotiation table with the federal government to amplify the voices of the masses in the aftermath of the increase in the pump price of petrol. Joke Adisa, TVC News, Abuja.
U.S. President Joe Biden told all leaders at the United Nations General Assembly in New York that they must stand together against Russia. He told the delegates to stand up to this naked aggression today and deter other will-be aggressors tomorrow. Ukrainian President Zelensky also spoke at the meeting of nearly 200 countries. On climate, President Biden said he's treating it as an existential threat and the world needs to reduce its dependence on fossil fuels. With so many important figures in one space, there is also an opportunity for leaders to hold meetings on the sidelines. But French President Emmanuel Macron, China's President Xi Jinping, Russia's President Vladimir Putin, and UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak were not there. Take your time out now. Stay with us. We'll be back with the rest of the show.
All right, then it's time for us to take a quick look at what's happening on the covers of the newspapers this morning. Of course, Mike Messikeno is right here with me as well.
Yep, let's take a look at the papers.
Quite a bit happening on the covers of the papers this morning. If we start with The Nation, of course, today is Wednesday, September 20th, 2023. Tinubu at the United Nations General Assembly. Nigeria welcomes true partnership. President addresses world leaders. Now, parts of the speech start there on the cover. The full speech is on page 3 of this paper. But there are some quotes here. It says, "We welcome partnership with those who do not mind seeing Nigeria and Africa assume larger roles in the global community. Then there's another quote here. It says, the question is not whether Nigeria is open for business. The question is how much of the world is truly open to doing business with Nigeria and Africa in an equal, mutually beneficial manner. Mike, I feel like, you know, when you have quotes like this, there's a lot that's being said, but then there's also a lot that's not being said when you hear quotes like that, especially from a leader. You know, because it does feel like we have a lot of people coming into the country to invest, but how much they're willing to invest in Africa has been in question.
Yeah, we need to sort out a lot of our issues, and majorly, one of the major issues will be security, because investors will not want to become, I'm talking about not just security of lives and property, but security of investment also. So we ensure that our taxing is, you know, we have tax-friendly initiatives to ensure that these people, when they come in, they, you know, it's mutually beneficial, as you want to call it, symbiotic, as it were.
Yeah.
You know, and then, of course, the issue of lives and property, that is very important. I mean, the other day, we saw a very gory video of what happened in Imo State and all about what the Southeast has turned into. And we know how, you know, different places of, or different regions of the country and insecurity in those parts. We need to sort that out as soon as possible, because that is what people see, and that will also determine how much people want to relate with us. So, yeah. You know,
I would have actually said, you know, when in Rome kind of situation, you need to sort of adapt to a place you're going to invest in. So I know that if, for instance, I want to send my products or export my products as a Nigerian to somewhere like the UK, I know I have to take into consideration all the issues that they have in the UK when it comes to the weather conditions, how my products are going to survive in that environment, how we're going to distribute those products in an environment like that. You know, it's a different situation, it's a different environment. So I would have thought, you know, if investors are coming into the country, they should, you know, scan the terrain and say, okay, so what works here and how can we adapt our services to this environment?
The onus of creating an environment that works is on us, not on investors. The investors, there are options available to them. So if you want them to come in, you have to create an environment that works. I was talking the other day we've spoken about it different times. I spoke about this particular road of companies that are moribund and warehouses that left, and the major reason they left was power generation. Just yesterday also, the grid collapsed again.
Yeah, sure.
You know, over the past week, it has collapsed like, what, 2-3 times? You know, so power generation, that's one very strong thing. If you don't generate power, you don't expect them to come here to create something or to invest, and then they have to generate their own power. So the onus, the responsibility of creating an environment that works so that investors can actually align with what we're doing is on us, is on our government, is on ourselves to do.
You know, the interesting thing, you know, there are quite a lot of, you know, companies that have come here to thrive. And that was, you know, why I put the question out there that, you know what is it going to take for this environment?
We create it. We have
to create the environment, right?
Responsibilities on us, not on investors. Responsibilities on us to create an environment that works.
Now, the rest of the speech is definitely in the paper if you want to get a better look at what else happened at the United Nations General Assembly yesterday. We have the Punch newspaper with us as well, and the headline goes thus. It says here, Dangote Refinery imports crude as NNPCL swaps oil for loans. Dangote expects crude from NNPCL November, begins operations October. $3 billion crude for loans deals. Others put pressure on local supply. Top left, it says here, on Tinubu's victory, Atiku Obi file 86 ground appeals at Supreme Court. It says here, Niger crisis will put pressure on Nigerian food market, according to World Bank. On the dollar shortage, foreign airlines trapped funds hit $783 million. Let's see what we have here. Yes. Photo stories, youth protest Mohbad's death, demand justice. Government plans renovation as miscreants vandalize Lagos pedestrian bridges. Power-drunk Lagos policemen invade Lekki shop, arrest attendants, plot charges, and UNGA, that's the United Nations General Assembly there. Tinubu, Biden condemn coups, insist on democracy.
There's quite a lot to talk about here.
Yeah.
I'd like to start with the picture story here. We saw a number of protests across different cities in Nigeria. That's concerning the death of Mohbad, the artist who demanding justice. And there was this particular, I'm not sure if it was Abiyakuta, I stand to be corrected, where it looked like it was getting rowdy. Now, you have to understand that no matter what happens, no matter for what cause a protest is, there will always be people who would want to use that particular protest to spread violence or to even rob and, commit atrocities, as it were. So the point here that they're trying to say is that ensure, and that's why I think the one for Obakan today was cancelled, because there was information getting to the police that some people would want to use that. Obakan is a place that has quite a number of shops and all of that. Sure. And that is something that happens. So while people are asking for justice, please ensure that if you have to do the process, ensure that these things are not taken over by miscreants. You understand? As it were, let it not be that somebody, while fighting for justice, you're causing pain to another. Remember the NSAS protests and all of that. Some malls were just after 3 years. It had to take 3 years. When you think of the mall, Jakonde, you think of Surulere, some malls that take 3 years. You know what that means? Loss of jobs, loss of revenue. Well, look at what it did to society. And the people that went there were, in their mind, they're going for something that was good, but look at what happened. Look at what it cost. So we're saying that while you're going out for this, please ensure you stay peaceful. Don't incite violence. The police is on the case. Yeah. Let us not have a repeat of things that have happened before.
There was a long list of inspectors and police officials that was, I think, released, I think, day before yesterday, who are on the matter. And I do believe the deputy governor went to visit the family yesterday. So things are happening already. Let's see what we have on the cover of the Daily Independent newspaper. It says here, Atiku asks Supreme Court to declare him president. Lists 35 grounds for nullification of PEPC judgment. Obi urges Apex Court to nullify Tinubu's victory. Page 29 has more on that. It says here at the top, on strike threats, hardship faced by workers giving us sleepless nights, according to TUC. National grid collapses again. The story starts there on the cover and wraps up on page 41. It also says here, CSOs ask Akpabio to resign over alleged sham impeachment plot. Tinubu exposes how Western economies undermine Africa's development, says Nigeria now ready for business. And that's what we have on the cover of the Daily Independent. Indeed, I think that's all we have time for when it comes to the headlines in the dailies for this morning. Of course, we would love to hear your opinion on some or all of the stories. Use our hashtag WakeUpNigeria on TVC when you post. All right, let's take a quick break and be back with more.
Thanks for staying with us. Welcome to the kitchen, guys. With me this morning is Chef SND. You are welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning. And this morning, he's taking us to Italy, right? Yesterday, we went to India, and today we're going to Italy. Ooh, nice. I'm loving this. This morning, he will be making choux pastry.
Yeah, choux
yes.
pastry, yeah.
So it's not exactly called choux. It is pronounced as choux, but it is actually a pastry. But hey, oh, that's it right there on your screen. And so let's run through the ingredients for our pastry this morning.
Good morning. I'm Chef SND. These are the ingredients for the choux pastry. We have our butter, unsalted butter.
Okay.
We have our flour. We have eggs. We have a flavor and the chocolate.
Ooh.
And this is the filling I'm going to use to...
Butter filling.
Butter filling, yeah.
Wow. Okay. It's a lot of butter going into this recipe.
So I have our milk here.
Okay.
So that's for that. Then these are our utensils we'll be using.
I see green bell pepper.
Plating just to
Garnish. Okay. Okay. Nice. 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 So I'm seeing yogurt and I'm seeing milk. That's a lot of dairy going into this recipe. Tell us about it. Why?
It's a French pastry, so it calls for milk and calls for egg.
Okay.
So that's what it calls for. But at times you can use it to serve. We're eating it. It's more of our local buns or something.
Okay.
But in an advanced way.
Okay, yeah. So it's more like a puff pastry.
Yeah.
Right. But it's more fluffy, more delicate.
No, not really that fluffy.
Okay.
Not that fluffy like the puff pastry itself.
Yeah.
But this is it's a choux pastry which you can use to make different. Mostly it's a base. It's a base for so many pastries that are coming up. Yeah, you can use to make your eclairs, you can use to make any other stuff you want to make.
Okay.
But it accepts fillings inside.
There's
fillings inside.
Okay, and what fillings are we having in this particular
Using
one?
these fillings.
Butter fillings.
Yeah, butter fillings.
Okay, I don't think anyone on a diet who should have this because it's a lot of fat going into your body. But hey, I'm pretty excited about this recipe. For one who's I'm not a bake person. I'm not a pastry person. I don't. So when it comes to cooking, yes, I'm there. But when it comes to baking, count me out, right? But this looks interesting. I'm definitely excited, and I'm sure someone watching right now is like, ooh, okay, something new and different. I know we are all used to small chops in this part of the world,
definitely.
right?
Definitely.
Puff.
This is more bitter.
Yeah, this is better, right?
But expensive though.
Okay, what makes it expensive?
The butter itself.
Okay, so what kind of butter are we using? Because you keep
Unsalted.
emphasizing on this butter. Okay.
Use unsalted butter.
Unsalted
I don't
butter.
know any brand, but unsalted butter.
Okay, not margarine though.
Not margarine.
Butter.
Butter.
Okay. If you're just joining us, guys, Chef SND on the show today is taking us to Italy. Yes, this is a French pastry, which he'll be making shortly for us here on the show. And it's called choux pastry. I know, right? It's not choux, guys. It's choux pastry. You need to call it with some pizzazz because it's French, yeah. Okay, so let's get right into it. What's the pot for?
Okay, I'll start with boiling the water.
Okay.
Placing the water.
What's the water for?
Let's keep going.
No, you have to tell us what it is for.
The water, it's to mix the dough.
Okay.
Yeah, our regular puff, our regular buns or the likes.
Okay.
We knead them.
Oh,
but this
okay.
go through heat.
Oh,
has to go through
okay.
heat.
So tell me. So once you pour in the water, and then we cook it, right? We cook the water till it's boiled.
No, once the water gets inside, it's mild.
Okay.
Then I send the butter in.
Okay.
I let it cook.
Okay.
I send this guy in.
Okay.
Then I take it off the heat.
Okay.
I work on it.
Okay.
When I'm done working on it,
Okay.
I get into the consistency I want. So I send the eggs inside.
Okay, so when you say you work on it, what do you exactly do? Like, do you
I use my handle. I
use this, okay, to mix it
yes.
properly? And then when you're done mixing, what's next?
I'm done mixing. I add other ingredients I need to add.
Okay.
To it. Then I send it to the oven.
Oven,
Yes, to the
okay.
oven. You don't fry this.
Okay.
So I'm gonna make it, the easiest way. You don't need a mixer. You don't need this. Originally, you need a mixer.
Yeah,
Mixer,
yeah, but you're making it easy
Easier,
for us,
yes,
especially
yes.
for those who do not have
So you don't need
a
a
mixer
Yes.
or who are not. Okay, pretty interesting recipe here. Pretty excited. I can't wait for us to begin. But while we are prepping things up here for our pastry this morning, let's head over to the couch for some relationship discussion with Titi.
Yes, pastry is somehow what sometimes my husband used to pacify me whenever I'm upset. So I think that pastry, I might need that recipe. I need to send it to him. Please, keep that recipe for me. All right? Speaking of relationships, it's time for our relationship discussion this morning. We have our guest here with us, Deji Shomi. He is a certified practitioner of family systems engineering, a love and life experience architect, a content creator, and writer on marriage and relationships. Now, today we're discussing unearthing your ideal partner amidst chaos. So when I think of the word chaos, I don't usually like the idea of using that kind of word when it comes to relationships.
I know.
Chaos?
Well, nobody does. But the thing is, While we can't have the exact statistics or put the figures together, we know today that the world is a little bit at sixes, at sevens as regards relationships, because it will take a relationship to grow into marriage anyway. And when you look at it, and everything just seems a little bit transactional, people seem too entitled. Some people are expected to carry the relationship by themselves. One is for two people, and some don't even know they're supposed to develop or evolve their personality to work on themselves in the relationship, or even work on the relationship.
I want to go back to that word chaos, though.
Yeah.
Because whenever you hear the term marriage, you think of marital bliss, peace, harmony, partnership, right?
Yeah.
Relationship. But once you throw the word chaos in there, nobody wants to admit that.
Okay.
So is there some sort of denial going on?
I would not call it denial per se. I would just say new definitions are making everything seem a little bit inflated or exaggerated. Today, what we have is bad news kind of sells more. People pay attention. And today we found out the meaning of truth. The truth today is whoever speaks the loudest. So as we have it, those who are having very good relationships are usually very satisfied within themselves, feeling no need or urge whatsoever to come and put it like in your face. Now, what we now have is the other side of this particular divide, who today will post pictures of their loved ones, put 1,000 beautiful words, then on the third day, delete them, say whatever they did wrong, flog them all over the internet, and it looks so toxic. And you're like, what exactly is going on? So we are trying to stem it in the face of people are beginning to get afraid of marriage because of what people, because it's only the ones that break or separate that people are hearing about, not the good ones.
So should we now begin to, should we display the good ones more? Do you think that is a solution to creating a better impression of marriage or good relationships, so to speak? Because in the end, it's work. Working on a relationship, it takes a lot of time. And those that actually have to work and work on their relationships at the same time probably don't have much time to be posting.
That is my point. That is why they're not out there. They don't have the time. Because what they are doing is the right thing, which is living their life. But the life we have today of, if you don't think my life is great, then it's probably not great. Then it becomes a problem. It becomes a problem. It makes people want to let you know that I'm living the life. So faking it.
Let's take another term from the topic. It's unearthing your ideal partner. Unearthing. Does that mean that your ideal partner is somewhere under all that chaos? Is it somewhere under all that, you know, maybe discombobulation? Because there's a lot happening with every individual. And the ideal partner you saw in the beginning is still there, right?
Yeah. You can unearth your partner, because most of the time I like to think of human beings as human ore. It's like you have gold or like you have silver. You will not find it in its purest form. You will naturally find it in an ore. It requires refinement. So the human is the same. What have you learned? What are you going to learn? How are you going to put yourself to be better used to someone else? Because you have to know what you're here on earth for. It's for nation building. It's for allowing the world to prosper. It's for rest. It's for technology. It's for progress. It's for so many things. So are you ready to develop yourself, to put yourself in the frame of mind such that in the household or in a family, if you're there, you are an advantage? That is what we're looking for in a partner.
You use the reference ore. To refine an ore, it takes a blasting furnace.
Yes, it always goes through fire.
It's not just any fire. This is
the hottest fire possible.
The hottest fire.
To refine, yes. It always takes time to do that. But are people willing to do that work?
That's the question.
That is the question that we have today. The reasons why it seemed as if marriage worked at the older times than today is that there seemed to be less free will then. If you were married, you had to work at it. It was not an option. Today, we know we have lots of options. So we're not going to work at it. If you know you have no option, if someone imprisons you, for example, you now want to be nice. You want to show value. That eventually, if there is a chance to see you in a good light, they might release you. But that's not the way today. There are so many options, so you just know that, oh, this is not working, I'm moving over there. Forgetting that moving over there means going to another person, learning about their good and bad sides, then try to see whether it works. How long do you want to see whether things work?
Okay. So now, the definition of the ideal partner is what we need to figure out at this point, because there are definitely certain traits that the average... We've talked about this on our show before. Maybe a lady growing up from secondary school, she had a whole list of things she wanted from her ideal partner. Okay. You know, he had to be a certain height, a certain skin tone, maybe long hair, short hair, maybe a beard, you know, that kind of thing.
I get that.
I'm thinking about what people have, what the media has defined as the ideal partner.
As the ideal partner. The media, books, movies, the Western movies for a long time have given us an idea, at least people from my generation, about how and what you should be with. From the Disney movies, it's always a prince.
Yeah.
The paupers are never available for marriage most of the time. It's always a princess available for marriage, someone trying to win their love. And here as well, we got stuck with 6 feet tall, or all the six packs and everything. Earning 10, I mean, no, 7, 8 digits.
Yeah.
10 is a lot to start with. But they're rich families, so you don't know. Then we have that structure in our mind that is what we are set on. And you know how it is, there's a car that passes you by today, you don't see it.
Yeah.
Then one day a friend brings one. They're like, wow, that's a nice car. I want that car. Then from that moment, all you see is that car. They're like, wow. So there's so many of these cars. It's the same thing with relationships. Once you get an idea of what you want, that is what you want to see. Okay. But cars are not as, humans are not as available as cars. So definitely most of the time, before you get to that person, someone probably already did. In fact, it's probably somebody's work that you are admiring.
You know what?
Yep.
Honestly, this conversation is one that can't wrap up now or can't end now.
No.
It's one of those...
long. We have to just...
Exactly.
Because of time. So
but there will be time to continue discussion with you in later episodes. But we would love to hear what you think. Use our hashtag WakeUpNigeria on TVC. Thank you very much, Deji Showman, for coming to talk to us today. We would love to hear your thoughts as well. Let's take a quick break and be back with more.
All right, it's time for nutrition, as it is a Wednesday morning. And joining us to talk about the topic nutritional management in Alzheimer's disease in honor of International Alzheimer's Day is Vivian Ifoma Okorocha, a registered and practicing dietitian who is passionate about healthy living and management using nutrition and diet therapy with over 10 years of practice. It is great to have you. You are welcome.
Thank you very much.
Right, so let's talk about most important thing. What is Alzheimer's disease, first of all?
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
So Alzheimer's disease is actually a brain disease, a progressive brain disease. It's characterized by changes in the brain, and then it results to loss of neurons and their connections.
Does it have a cure?
No,
so
it doesn't.
Can only be managed?
It progresses.
It progressively gets worse. Can it be managed?
Yes, it can be managed because there could be other diagnoses that could result from this. So when we have a patient with Alzheimer's disease, we manage whatever symptoms it shows up with, and then manage whatever diagnosis that it progresses with.
Okay, just before we get into the dieting needs and all of that, what causes Alzheimer's disease? Is it something that we can prevent? Is it something that would happen with age?
Okay, so Alzheimer's disease doesn't have a specific cause, but it has risk factors, just because we cannot say this is a certain cause or this is what can actually lead to it. But we have risk factors like age. You and I want to grow old. So as long as you grow old, you are at risk for Alzheimer's disease. There are different changes that happens with age in the brain. So when that happens, you are at risk for Alzheimer's disease. There's genetics. Genetics, yes.
Plays a major factor in it, right?
Exactly. if you have a father who's had Alzheimer or a mother who's had Alzheimer, you are also at risk. I'm not saying that would happen, actually, but you're actually at risk.
Susceptibility ratio is greater.
Exactly.
For you to pick it up. Okay, so let's get into the...
There's also lifestyle.
There's also...
Yeah, and there are also diseases. There are also diseases. Diseases like heart diseases, hypertension. You know, with hypertension, heart diseases, a person can get down with stroke. And stroke is paralysis. So that would happen from the brain, because the change in the brain is the loss of neurons. And neurons are those nerve cells that send messages from the brain to you. Those parts of the brain where you can think, you can reason, you can imagine, put out a correct sentence, just like we're having a conversation. No. That part of the brain is affected when there is Alzheimer's disease. So hypertension can actually put us at risk for that to happen.
You said lifestyle. Are there
lifestyle,
that,
obesity.
Obesity,
excessive nutrient intake that could lead to overweight and obesity. So there are brain blood vessels that obesity can actually affect.
Okay.
That is also the brain. Whatever would affect the brain can actually put one at risk for Alzheimer's disease.
Wow.
Yeah.
Quite interesting there. Okay, so let's get to the diet, where you come in now. The dietary needs of managing it and all of that. How does one go about all of this?
Okay, so when a person or patient is presented with Alzheimer's disease, be it home management or hospital management, what myself as a dietitian look out for is to look out for links or any other thing or diagnosis or symptoms that could present this person at a risk for malnutrition. Because with Alzheimer's disease, there's memory loss, which is what you and I know as dementia. A person can forget to eat. A person can forget the smell of food, even the beautiful...
when you say forget to eat, does that... when
there's memory
loss come?
There's memory loss. You do not want to go there. You do not want to experience.
So I'm just trying to understand, would you still feel the hunger pangs?
A person forgets to eat. That means a person forgets every activity. There is no sense, there is no message from the head to tell you, I am hungry. Exactly. So that happens. That means the person is open to malnutrition. So a dietitian sets in or steps in to manage that other diagnosis. Like I said, with Alzheimer, you are also open to some other diagnosis, which is malnutrition. So when we come in, we look out for those links to malnutrition and then begin to work on that or manage with. This is a medical diagnosis, actually.
Exactly. Yes. So that's why I'm coming in now. At what point does somebody start or understand that at this point I need to go for a diagnosis to ensure what it might be? Is it by medical checkups? Like can a general medical checkup reveal Alzheimer's disease?
So there could actually be changes going on. Like I said, risk factors. Hypertension. A person can progress from hypertension to stroke. So when stroke happens, you must always go for... The doctors will check out for different signs. They'll see symptoms, and they will go further to say, I'm going to find out what is happening in the brain because there's paralysis going on. So there's no message, no transmitters happening. Yes, there's obesity. If there is obesity, then we know that there's a tendency that the blood-brain vessel could be blocked at that time because of obesity. Yeah, fat cells, fat droplets in the blood vessels can actually do that blockage and then cause that stop of message from the neurons to the body. So those kind of diagnoses presented can actually make a doctor say, yes, I have to check the brain. Or when a person is aged, coming to the hospital with different diagnoses, a doctor may be pushed to say, oh, I'm seeing this or I'm seeing that. I need to progress or I need to check further to see if this is happening.
I bet you an hour will not be enough for us to finish this, but please, I just need you to answer this. Are there lifestyle changes one can, take on that can help prevent this kind of thing or manage it?
Okay, so like I said, you cannot prevent it because you and I want to grow old. And then you and I have families that we cannot say if they have Alzheimer's disease. But what you can do nutritionally is to make sure that you're having an adequate diet, low fat, low salt, low sugar, make sure that you're physically active.
What is low,
low salt?
Low salt is
very little amount of salt.
Very little amount. Because someone like salt not
our daily requirement per day is a level teaspoon, which is about 2,300 to 2,600 milligram of sodium, which is what you and I need. So the MSGs, I'm not naming names anyways.
Okay.
So the MSGs, we're taking them out. We have to use natural spices and herbs, ginger, garlic, turmeric, cinnamons, we have them. Curry, thyme, we use them and then make sure that there's physical activity and there is brain-stimulating activity because it is believed that as you age, you have to read so that you
brain-stimulating. So I do not tell somebody 7 divided by 0 and the person says 7. We will continue this. This is quite interesting. I am looking forward to still talking about this with you, but we have to leave now just because of time. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Expository talking to you on this.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Okay. Woo. So you see where is the problem? 7 divided by 0. Well, let's head over to the kitchen and see what's happening right there.
7 divided by 0 is on the Find My. Guys, with me is Chef S&D, and this morning he's making true pastry. Yes. So quickly, Chef, let's run through the ingredients and tell us where you at right now. Let's go.
Okay, I've gotten to my dough is ready.
Okay.
I'm taking off the heat.
So quickly tell us how you were able to, get to that. What's in there?
Okay, what I have here is I have my water.
Okay.
I have the butter. And I have the flour.
Okay, so you want to tell us the process quickly?
The process is quite simple. Let the butter get to a boiling point.
Okay.
When the butter gets to the boiling point, you add your flour. Once you add your flour, you take it off the heat. You work on it.
Okay.
To give it a very good consistency.
Okay.
Remember, you're not using a mixer or anything. So this guy, to come to this consistency, make sure you take it off the heat. Then you start bringing in your eggs.
Okay.
So now your eggs will be coming in. If it's still on the heat while you're adding your eggs, you get cooked.
Ah,
yeah, you get cooked.
Okay. So you have to take it off the heat
off the
to
heat.
put your eggs in.
And
So
it
how
has-
many eggs are we using?
4 eggs.
Okay.
Or put it bit by bit.
Okay.
To get the consistency I want.
Okay, okay.
So
So can we do that now?
definitely we can do that now.
Okay. I see that you also melted some bars of chocolates.
Yeah, I want to use my plating just to make it more
Oh,
juicy and
okay, okay,
yeah, so
okay.
some fillings
okay.
and the likes.
All right.
Yeah, good to go.
So then I'm curious, where does the milk go in, the yogurt?
It's gonna come in.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Our chef S&D this morning is taking us to Italy, guys. Super excited because the true pastry is actually a French pastry. It's a delicate pastry. It's more, they call it, you could also call it a puff pastry, but it's done in a more elegant way. Right?
Yes.
In a more elegant way, in a more sophisticated way. It's not like you have your puff. It's not, yeah, it's just quite different. And there's a lot of butter going into this pastry. So I see you've poured in the first egg.
Yes, I'm taking the egg bit by bit.
Okay.
Because it's very, very important.
Okay, so all of the eggs are going in. Okay. So we're not separating the yolk.
No.
Okay.
You're not separating it.
I really want to see the consistency, like the
Okay.
texture, when it finally comes together. I can't wait. I mean, okay. It's a lot of work. Chef S&D's had at work. When does the flavor go in?
It's gonna go in.
Okay, okay. So we are putting in the eggs one after the other.
That's very, very important. I don't trust the eggs.
Okay.
No matter, you can't just trust the
Oh,
egg.
okay. I see why you don't
can't just
trust
trust
it,
the egg.
right? Because you want to avoid any rotten eggs,
yes,
so
yes,
you
this
have
is
to
very,
separate
very
them in a bowl
important.
before you pour it into
Yes.
the mix. Nice, nice. It reminds me of when you're making pancakes.
Sure.
Yeah, same procedure, but in a more delicate manner. Because with pancakes, you just pour in the flour, pour in the sugar, pour in the salt, pour in everything, and mix everything, and you're good to go. Right, but with this one, there's a lot of intentionality and detailing that goes into it, right? Okay, so S&D is getting our pastry ready, making sure that butter comes well together. And, we're going to quick break now. But the show continues very, very shortly, guys. We need you to please stay with us. We'll be right back.
I definitely would want to talk about that particular video. I know it's been going. Did you guys talk about it?
Which video are we talking about, Mike?
Well, it's the start of the second half. Welcome. If you were not here for the first part of the show, you missed quite a lot, especially our last discussion where we spoke about Alzheimer's disease,
Yes.
nutritional needs for Alzheimer's
Very
disease.
true.
That's what is bringing this conversation, and how it is important to, you know, push not just your physical body, but also the brain, because it's a muscle.
Oh, now I know where you're going.
And one way to activate the cranial muscles is
What?
learning, reading, intellect, pushing it.
So reading books is like so now if you're just joining us, not to worry, we are not quizzing you on what we have left. We're going to be sharing it with you. Thank you for meeting us halfway. We still have so much more coming your way right here on Wake Up Nigeria. Of course, if you would like to be part of the show, you can always follow us and use the hashtag Wake Up Nigeria on TVC to connect with us. Of course, if you are watching us now, you're probably watching us on GoTV channel 16.
Of course, it's also the ultra high frequency 49 on the terrestrial band.
Yeah.
I definitely think that this Friday we should play a quizzing game. MM, what do you think? Should we?
We should. I mean, something to give our brains that boost.
Yes.
It needs that kick, you know. So I think it would be a very, very good idea. But please, no conse.
But that is actually that game actually makes you really think.
You're giving me a bad rap on that thing. But yeah, how's it going in the kitchen?
Oh, it's going pretty well. You see the consistency. I really, really, really needed to show you guys this. Look at that. Look at the fluffiness in there. You can feel the delicacy of the batter. Love it. So it's going into the oven very shortly.
All right, wonderful. Okay, so let's get straight into what we have left on the show today. We'll kick off with birthday.
Then, of course, we'll be having a musical performance come your way. Golden Star is going to be right here on our set.
And then, of course, we have Tola Olatunji, a Nigerian-born film director, producer and also screenwriter. We'll be talking to him on the show this morning.
When it comes to movies, this is someone you would like to hear from. Bikia Graham Douglas, award-winning Nigerian British-trained actress, singer, producer, art enabler, performing arts executive, and so much more. It's going to be great having a conversation with her. You do not want to miss it.
All right, now we have to head over to the couch. Here with me is Tola Olatunji. He's a Nigerian-born film director, producer, and screenwriter. He has written, produced, and directed several feature short films and TV series that have been featured on different streaming platforms. So we have quite a number of them. And of course, Tola's movies have received widespread acclaim and commercial success. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks
How
for
are
having
you
me.
doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, good, good. I mean, you alone, director, producer, screenwriter. So many hats you're wearing there. Talk to us about, you know, what stands out the most for you amongst all of these roles, all of these hats that you wear.
By most part, I call myself a storyteller.
Okay.
But I usually focus on directing, which is basically who holds most of the weight of the story and the outcome. So that's really my focus.
Directing.
That's cool.
How long have you been directing now for?
For too long.
Okay.
15 years thereabouts.
Okay.
Yes, directed quite a number of movies.
Wow, 15 years, that's quite a long time.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about screenwriting. Okay. I mean, there's usually that, there has been conversations about who a scriptwriter is and who a screenwriter is. I mean, you are mostly a screenwriter. Help us expatiate on the roles that each of this each of these bodies play. I mean, as a screenwriter and as a scriptwriter.
So from my little understanding, the demarcation is usually more on the writer and the screenplay.
Okay.
Because I think the screenwriter and the scriptwriter is usually about the same thing. Okay. So, for example, the story is the overacting, the character build-up, the plot, how they want the movie to, the outcome of the movie is usually by the writer. Okay. The screenplay is actually mostly the dialogue and the way it's being composed in that, so for most part.
Okay. There's also been conversations that a director is the one who makes an actor look good. the director is the one who brings out the best from an actor. So yes, the actor has his role that he plays in, interpreting the role, but the director is like the cherry on top in making sure that that role, comes to go, that character comes to life.
Correct.
What would you like to say about that?
Yeah, that's absolutely right, because the director, again, there's so many aspects to directing, because you're directing even at the script level, you're directing pre-production, production, and post-production.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the character, bringing out the best in the character, definitely the director plays a lot to that. Not taking away from the talent, but definitely without the director, you could act in a certain completely different line, but the director holds the vision and will tell you if you're exactly, because you're looking at so many aspects to it, right? When the character comes in play, there's an end goal, right? It's not just that one scene, right?
Okay.
So
you know what? I'm looking at Kenani. That's Kenani, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Talk to us about Kenani. I mean, I know it's currently showing right now in the cinema, and it talks about the Jackpot story.
Correct.
I mean, that's the realities that a lot of Nigerians are living in right now.
Correct.
Everyone wants to jackpot.
Everybody wants to take off.
Yeah, everybody wants to take off. Now, talk to us about the story, the implementation, and the conceptualization, everything that went into, the film Kenani.
So Kenani is a love story, right, of two people that were compelled to leave the shores of Nigeria, and they found themselves being sold into what we call modern-day slavery and human trafficking.
Okay.
But the end of it is really something everybody should know, and how they found themselves in that situation. So I think it's an amazing movie that everybody needs to go out there and watch.
Yeah, I mean, you're also one of the producers for this film.
Correct.
Were you also part of the casting for the movie? Because I mean, you have Gabriel Afolayan, you have Ivie,
right,
Okujaye. I mean, those are two very strong actors.
Yes.
I mean, and they never fail to, deliver their roles. I mean, talk to us about the casting process for these characters for the movie.
So Gabriel, for most part, has always been one of my favorite talents, regardless of whether it was for Kenani. So when the opportunity was presented to me to direct, and of course the movie myself, when I was looking at who to pick, it was definitely one of my top choice. Evie, very phenomenal as well, because she speaks the language. So that was also a plus for her, and a lot of other things that I looked into. So yes, I was part of the casting.
Okay. Now talk to us about some of the challenges that you have had to experience.
Shooting Kenani was actually during the peak of COVID.
Yes. Yeah, I know it's short, but
yes,
wow.
It was at the peak of COVID.
Oh,
so
wow. Okay.
there was a lot of logistics things that we had to overcome, which made us, but we were strong enough to overcome it. But now we're here, right? Anybody
catch COVID on set?
No. Hopefully not. But what I wanted to say also is more than the story itself, the movie itself has a lot of international stuff, recognition to it, and we know that this whole Jackpot thing is a big thing right now. Not just Jackpot, but human trafficking and all that stuff. So we're definitely looking for the support, because we're trying to. It's not just about the blockbusters or it's really about change, right? And we will need every support of,
Yeah, this is actually driving social change, and I am so here for it. I'm inspired, by the movie. I mean, a friend of mine who's also a producer on the show, Jennifer Myrick, kudos to her. Yes. And, congratulations to the entire team. This is phenomenal. Well done.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And, I would definitely go see the movie, Kenani. And that's it right here for now. We have Bikia Graham Douglas coming right up. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Been made.
Really appreciate them for giving us that platform to express ourselves and to use our talent.
As a writer, sometimes it could be
Yes, indeed, those bright smiles, faces, that positive energy. We're going to find out all about why that exists right now. Today on the couch, we have Bikia Graham Douglas. Now, she is an award-winning Nigerian-British trained actress, singer, producer, art enabler, performing arts executive. You know what? Let me breathe in. Now, industry professionals and audiences have praised her over the years for her acting, for her ability to interpret diverse, complicated roles. But she is one of those performers that you just love to see. It's great to have you on the couch with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Yes. So, with all those many caps you wear, you've started a playwright competition.
Indeed.
And they're all smiling. Like,
yes.
It's not looking like jam.
It's not as easy as it looked, though.
Okay.
Yes, but thanks for having me this morning. And all those caps, yes, my head was swelling small, but I'm coming back down to earth, yes. And so the Beta Playwright competition is through my organization, Beta Universal Arts Foundation.
Okay.
And for a lot of people who know me, they know I started off as a producer. I was producing plays. But I found myself recycling a lot of material from older playwrights.
Okay.
And I kept on looking for younger people, and
but that
I
was
just
the
couldn't.
Classic
yes.
thing to do then.
Yes, it was.
Everyone was, redoing the Olatunji, Wale showing Cab, and they're all great plays.
Of course they are, but I wanted to find new voices.
Okay.
Voices in our generation, people that are our age group, people that are younger than us. Okay. What are they writing about Nigeria? Okay. What are the stories they want to tell? What is our history through their voices? And so we started the Beta Playwright competition. And 6 editions later, we are still here, going stronger, making new connections, new collaborations, new partnerships, and in our own little way, changing lives.
So for those that don't know, you're a thespian.
Yes, indeed.
And even the term thespian might be lost on some people. But we need to let them in on how it started for you before you got all the way to where we are now.
It started with the theater, as you said. I'm a thespian. I trained in the United Kingdom as an actress, and I was working on stage. And one of the things, I think I have to put this in, someone gave me an opportunity. I got a scholarship when I was in the United Kingdom to train. It was a 3-month training, but it sort of set everything in motion for me. And so with the work I do with Beta Universal Arts Foundation is just giving other people those opportunities the way someone gave me an opportunity to start my journey. So it started for me as a performer on stage. And then, of course, Nigeria, what I love about this country is how it diversifies your skills and how you have to grow up very quickly and learn on the job. And so from acting, I started producing. But I'm one of those people who I love to manage people, and I just love to find solutions. So it wasn't very far. So I started off doing that, producing. And then I saw the need to enable art. And I saw that we lacked leadership in this area. And so it progressed from acting, producing, and of course...
Directing.
No, I don't direct.
Sorry.
That's too difficult.
Okay, so people think of directing, they think of camera. I'm thinking, basically, when you're producing a stage play or stage performance, there is a lot of direction given in it, in the scripts, in the production of it. So... a lot of people don't understand the intricacies or the differences between directing for screen and directing for stage. What are some of the key things that people don't take note of?
Okay, the thing is, they're completely different expressions of art. So a film director and a stage director are completely different. The film director deals with the camera. Well, the DOP handles the camera, but the film is the director's picture and is the director's vision. And then for stage, your director tells the actors where to go, brings everyone together, all of from the costuming to the music to stage management, everyone works under the director. But it's just, on film, is the director's vision. Even on stage, is the director's vision, but different performance spaces. One is through the camera, one is on stage, but it's all about what the director wants you to see and wants to...
But then again, the director does work with what a playwright has put on paper, right?
Interpretation is different.
Okay.
So a playwright is not a director. They're storytellers, and they're bringing the story. Yes.
Then
they're writing the story.
The director interprets
it, and which is exactly how film is. So, but you do find that there's some film directors who are also writers, and also for stage. So it just depends. But at the end of the day, It's the director's picture, it's the director's vision, it's the director's story.
It's the director's baby.
Yes, indeed.
Exactly.
So for me, when people say, are you going to direct? I'm like, no, I don't want to direct.
It's too much responsibility?
Yes, but you know, I just feel like the director has I have enormous respect for directors because what we see come together is what they do. And for us as producers, we enable for everyone to come together. And I am an actress too, so I act and I'm able to produce, but directing, I'll leave it to them to do.
So now it feels like because of social media, because of, you know, things like YouTube and all that, we're sort of going more into film as opposed to stage. It feels like you're trying to make an effort to revive that area as well. Am I right?
The thing about stage is that it's always been a bit elitist.
Okay.
But the truth is, inherently, we're all stage performers in Nigeria. We're highly theatrical people. So we had a depression, but it's coming back. And there are many young people who are producing stage plays. You do have the big names who are doing enormous things, and we commend them for that. But you have younger people, and now you have festivals all over Nigeria. I run an arts festival in Abuja, and also the Lagos Theatre Festival exists in Lagos. And all over Nigeria, you find there's so many theatre festivals and art festivals where younger people are expressing themselves through the medium of stage. So is it ever going to die? I don't think so. We had a depression, but it's all coming back. And young people today are taking more responsibility to tell their story, and they're not waiting for anyone. So many years ago, the Lagos Theatre Festival started site-specific theatre, and you see many people have adopted that in different parts of Nigeria. And so when people say it's dying, no, it's not.
Okay.
Yes, it still exists, and for people like me, I'm creating this platform for young playwrights to tell their stories, for them to be seen. And what we're doing, the Beta Playwright Competition this year, luckily for us, we have a partner, Chapin Global Services, who is going to give the winner of this competition $3,000.
What, you say what now? You say how much? Are they right?
Yes. Yeah.
Can I still submit my entry? 3,000?
Yeah, $3,000 in prizes, yes.
Wow,
and then we've partnered with the Utopia Theatre in the United Kingdom, who will be giving the winner an all-paid residency for 3 months in the UK.
Wow.
And the first and second runner-up to get a chance to go there too, and they're going to give them training, all of our finalists. So you can see where it's
I think we should
becoming
now.
bigger.
You know why? Because I have to put my entry. You're giving too much information out there. Too many people are going to start signing up now. But you've done this 7 years in a row, and it sounds like
6 years.
Sorry,
now.
6 years in a row, and it sounds like it's going great. I'm really interested now in having young people see that it is a viable industry to still go into. A lot of people are more interested in, you know, creating things on their phones, you know, creating content, skit making, and they've not really considered theatre. What is your, should I use the term pitch to the average young person who hasn't thought of theatre as something to go into?
The thing about theatre is that people who love theatre love it. You don't need to convince them to come to theatre.
Wow.
That's the truth about it.
Okay.
And I can guarantee you that any thespian who walks in here, they will tell you, I'm not necessarily doing this because it's viable. I'm doing this because I just can't see myself doing anything else.
Wow.
That's the spirit of the theatre. And it's now more profitable. As I said, you've seen, even like with my playwrights, I've seen quite a number of them do extraordinary things. One of our winners, he just got a book deal, a publishing deal in the United Kingdom.
Wow.
I'm so proud of him. I've seen him, one of them wrote Moremi the musical, Legends the musical. These are all people from the Beta Playwright Competition. And then when it comes to young people who want to get into theatre space, the truth is that even if they try to run away from it, theatre has a way of pulling you back in. So it's not going anywhere anytime soon. And with this competition, we want to hear the voices of young people documenting our history, telling their own stories through the medium of play. And the beauty of it is that storytelling is storytelling. It doesn't go away anytime soon. And with storytelling, you can always adapt.
I think that term, adapt, I'm going to jump on that, because now we mentioned earlier that on stage we had a lot of older plays being reenacted on stage, Olarotimi, Wole Soyinka and the like. But then stories, I guess the people's realities have changed.
Indeed.
Meaning that you have to sort of infuse things like cell phones,
Yes.
things like, vehicles, things like AI into, things you're writing now.
That's happening already.
Okay.
That's happening. The style of writing has changed. What people are writing about has changed. And you know what? What I love about this competition is that it really gives you a holistic view of what young people think about their country, where their minds are at. And I know that we have Japa culture at the moment.
Yes, so.
But I can tell you that there are many young people who do not want to leave Nigeria, who believe in this country and who believe that Nigeria will be better. And a lot of that is reflected from the work we see from people all over. We've had 32 states, no, 30 states. 30 states participate, sometimes 26, but it's across board where all of these young people are very passionate about this country and believe that if we have the right leadership with the will to make Nigeria better, Nigeria will be better.
And honestly, I think we found what we're tweeting today. That last comment, we're going to be tweeting that, canning that, and hopefully you heard it too. And if this has inspired you, please share how much it's inspired you. Use our hashtag #WakeUpNigeria on TVC. We have Bikia Graham Douglas in the building.
Thank you.
We have something sweet, something special in the kitchen standing by for you. MM and our chef have been hard at work this morning. And I hope you're interested in tasting it.
I mean, I'm here, so
right.
hey, why not?
All right, then.
Maybe we'll give them something to write about.
Let's head over to the kitchen, shall we?
Okay, thank you.
Wow.
That looks good.
Yeah, it's action-packed, that one.
It looks it.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And welcome to the kitchen. This is Chef SND.
Yeah.
And this morning he's made for you true pastry.
Okay.
So it's like it's an Italian pastry, it's like a French pastry, and so it's got chocolate fillings in it.
Yeah.
And a lot of work went into it.
It's a really
so please
interesting pastry.
enjoy.
All right, let's go.
Am I tasting it alone?
Yes, go ahead.
Our guest.
For you to tell us what it's like.
Special guest.
And there's a special filling, right?
Yeah, the chocolate. Look at that over there.
Okay, all right then.
All right, here goes. It's a bit messy. Is there some tissue in it?
Like a finger food.
Yes, so.
Yes, indeed. So here we go.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Ooh.
Okay. What do you think?
Yum.
I love it.
Yeah, it's really nice, actually. Thank you.
I actually love the aroma in the studio. It smells extremely sweet in the studio this morning. Not as savory as we're used to over the past few days.
Right. And it's a wrap on the show. Thank you to all our guests for being here, including the chef.
Yeah.
We'll call it a wrap for now.
We'll
Till tomorrow morning.
7 a.m., y'all. Bye.